All right, let's talk Padre Dodger here with Emmanuel. He says, "Hey Lee, for argument's sake, I'll give you that the Padres are a slightly better team on paper. But in previous seasons, the Padres lack a true leader or captain, so the Padres will not overtake the Dodgers."
At the end of the day, you could say, yeah, the Dodgers have got personality. The Dodgers have obviously got great raw talent. Dodgers have had the better payroll, but this just seems to have a different feel to it. The Dodgers just don't have a complete team right now. Their bullpen is really bull crap. And, the Dodgers starting pitching has still got some issues here. Now, you could argue back, well, Blake Snell's here. Well, let's see if Blake Snell will string together a group of vintage quality Blake Snell second half of the season starts. And, the Padres bullpen is just knockout. It used to be the Four Horsemen. Now I guess you can call them the Fab Five, or maybe we start calling them the Six Pack. It's going to be great. Is it August 15th yet? Do you know the Padres and Dodgers play each other 6 times starting August 15th?
Yeah, and there's plus a lot of Giants games mixed in there too.
Yeah, but the Giants season, that's a white flag that's waving.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
So he obviously agrees with me. The Padres have made great improvement, but he's flashing history. Emmanuel, I understand your history. Dodgers 11 division championships in 12 years. Padres have not been to a World Series yet. I keep telling my co-host that as the co-host waves his foot,
just rubbing it in.
His Padre pennant. So it's going to be fun. But I said what I said. I believe the Padres right now are collectively a more complete, better team than the Dodgers are right now. Dodgers are looking for a hot streak. Only time will tell.
The Padres have leadership. I mean, let's be real. I mean, the obvious one in the elephant in the room is Manny Machado. Okay, and this is a lot of crap from Dodger fans online. They're saying, "Oh, you've got Machado. There's no way that guy's a leader or he's going to lead his team to a World Series. He's a cancer in the clubhouse." And I say that's a bunch of BS, because you've seen multiple times where Manny will get the boys together in the dugout and they'll huddle and they'll talk it out, And then you got Musgrove, who's a hell of a leader on that team. I mean, and even in a quiet way, guys like Xander Bogaerts, even Jake Cronenworth. I think they've got quality guys on that team. It's not going to be like a cheerleading Mookie Betts leader. It's a different vibe.
Their lineup is pretty collectively good now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Emmanuel, thanks for joining us. We'll see where this goes. Next one.
Okay, this is a two-parter, okay, but we'll get both of them in here. This is from one Mr. Smith. He goes, "Hacksaw, AR-15 is owned more than any other gun in the country. This arrest is going to be dropped. Don't judge Perriman so quickly."
What did I say? I'm giving him reason of doubt because he was on his way to a gun range. Only concern I would have would be if a whole bunch of these weapons were unregistered. That's a felony. That's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously gun laws in California, and I don't know the circumstances of this case, but this is the second part that I thought was a shot across the bow. He says, "Hey, why don't you ask Perriman in to discuss the whole topic? I don't think you have the guts."
You don't have access to Perriman, and he's not talking to the media right now. And what did I say at the top of this topic? I'm giving him benefit of the doubt because he's been a good player, good person, I think, good leader. But at the end of the day, in this society with guns and the bad reputation AR-15s have, and you're driving around with 5 guns in your trunk, including 2 AR-15s, that's a bad look. We'll see if they were registered. And like I say, hopefully it's much ado about nothing. But if they're not, then it's a bad decision by him. But I got to cover the topic. I'm going to tell you what I think about the topic because that's who we are.
It's just interesting how, we're all different people, right? And we all have different ways of looking at life. And, for someone like you or I, some guy driving around with 5 AR-15s in his trunk or whatever the number of weapons it is, that just seems really strange, right? It just seems really odd. But for other people, that's not a big deal. It's like, he might have been on his way to the shooting range, or he was going to go hunting for deer, or I don't know what the heck he was going to do with it. But for some people, that's a totally normal thing. And they believe that, well, first of all, why was he even pulled over? Was he speeding or something?
There was something, it might have had something to do with a tag on a license plate.
Oh, geez. I mean, yeah. So that's bad luck by him.
Yeah.
But, hopefully, he's compliant with the law, has them registered, and everything's okay.
Benefit of the doubt. I'm giving Perriman benefit of the doubt. We'll see where the story goes in the next calendar week or so. Mr. Smith, thank you for joining. I hope you accept our explanation. Next one.
Okay, go to Greg. He goes, "Hey, Lee, there was an article in the LA Times a few weeks ago stating that Kershaw is the all-time best Dodger pitcher. I say it's Koufax. What do you think?"
Well, Koufax was there for 9 years. I mean, Koufax had an arthritic elbow, and he walked away from baseball at a fairly young age. Well, Kershaw's been there 16. Now, Kershaw is a more complete pitcher. Koufax was just a blazing fastball guy who threw no hitters along the way. I don't have an argument. Either one could be the elite pitcher of all time, or maybe they're equal of all time. But the fact that Kershaw has done it for so many more years than anybody else, that his accolades and you look at his statistics, his career 1-loss ERA record, that's pretty damn impressive. So Greg, I'm not going to argue because I think they were both great, but we've seen a lot more Kershaw than we did for Sandy Koufax.
Well, they did in Koufax 9 years with the Dodgers, but only like 5 of those years was he really good, right?
Well, he was a young high school kid out of Cincinnati, and Brooklyn Dodgers signed him, and he had no control. He could bring it, but it took him forever to become an established major leaguer. But over those 5 or 6 years, that chunk of time, wow.
Like, who else is on the Mount Rushmore of Dodger pitchers? It got to be Fernando.
Sure.
And then
Oral.
And then you got Oral Hershiser, maybe Don Drysdale.
Yep. So there's only 4 faces on that.
Exactly.
Rushmore.
So I mean, for me, my favorite of all of them was Fernando. I mean, it was just a cultural thing that was way beyond the scope of what baseball is. But if you're to look at just the data, it's got to be Kershaw.
Yeah. We could argue forever and ever. You'd be buying a bunch of beers as we argued about that. Because then we got to include Don Newcomb.
Yeah,
because he changed the game.
Well, he was the guy that threw the perfect game, right? In the World Series.
No, that was Don Larson.
Don Larson,
Yankees. This is Brooklyn Dodger Don Newcomb, but he was a great pitcher, helping break the baseball color barrier post Jackie Robinson. So I mean, the Dodgers have had so many great players, but Kershaw, Koufax, I'll take them both.
Yeah, the other one I remember from my childhood was Don Sutton.
Yep,
that guy was steady Eddie, and man, he'd get like 14 to 16 wins every year,
forever.
Yeah.
Concur. Okay, move on. Thanks, Greg.
Okay, let's move on, and we'll go here to let's go here to Paul. And he says, "Hey, Paul, new first timer here. Hey, will Aztec Fast actually happen this coming season?"
Jury is really out. Nobody knows. There's so many new pieces. I talked to an Aztec alum who doesn't go there anymore, and he was one of those quote Aztecs for life. And he said, just the program has drastically slipped. The prices are ridiculous. I'm not excited about going to the, quote, new look Pac-12s. I mean, he checked off all the boxes of things that I've said, but let's give Sean Lewis a chance. The one thing that he needs, that coach needs, he needs continuity. There has to be a cessation of all the roster turnover. You know, he had 49 new players last year, and he lost a bunch. He had to bring 55 new ones in this year. They're right back to hit the reset button. It's square one, clean piece of paper. But I mean, it's like a whole new team. Now, he does have a lot of his defense back, but he's got to change everything on the offense, and he's going to do it with 2 quarterbacks who've never gone to war. Jaden Denegal from Michigan, he spent 3 years. He never played at the U of M, hardly. And Bert Emanuel, Central Michigan, he played some part-time starter, but he's more runner than thrower. He's not a perfect fit to what they want to do with this Aztec Fast offense, but let's give Sean Lewis a second year and see if they can be better, because they caved in last year. They just offensively never got it together, and then their defense caved in the second half of the season. It was really abysmal. Sean kind of lectured me at the press conference last week. He said, well, we lost 3 games by 9 points. I said, I understand that, but you're also 3-9. There's a whole pile of games you could not move the football. So we'll give them this second year, and let's see. Hopefully it's not going to be 3-9 again.
Well, this whole Aztec Fast, offensive playbook, this is going to be, turbocharged offense. But it's this interesting how when a coach has a system and a scheme, but he doesn't have the players to match it.
Right.
Some coaches will just switch the scheme, to find a way to do it with the talent he has. But like you said, I don't really know enough about these players to know if they're going to be able to play Aztec Fast.
Well, he went out and recruited a pile of guys who can run. That's a component. All these wide receivers. A year ago this week, I thought this is going to be interesting because he's got a whole pile of guys who've come from other places where they threw the ball, they could run, but it never really happened. Then they had the freshman quarterback, Danny O'Neill, who was going through his own learning curve. And then the offensive line fell apart. Then the defense just faded so badly because they're on the field so much the second half of the year. So we never really got a look at Aztec Fast. It was just, let's hope we can at least get a first down and keep some drives going. It didn't happen. They averaged maybe 20 points a game. They didn't average 3 touchdowns a game, and that was supposed to be their calling card.
So, quick Aztec history lesson. If we were to go back in time to the Don Coryell era, was he like this offensive innovator in the college system? And was he like the equivalent of Aztec Fast in the 70s?
Yeah, well before anybody else did it, because he was also a guy that recruited the junior college ranks. Everybody who came to San Diego State was a speed guy and came, for the most part, through the JC ranks. And he got quarterback after quarterback. He had 5 or 6 quarterbacks in a row that were really good. And a whole bunch of them wound up NFL draft picks. One went to the AFL, Dennis Shaw, who had maybe the greatest individual season from back in the day. And then Dennis Shaw's 1 year as a starter, he threw 39 touchdown passes at San Diego State.
Wow.
It was amazing. Now, modern day football, the 2 best quarterbacks of modern day Aztec football were Kevin O'Connell and Ryan Lindley, who played back to back. Between them, that was 6 years of combined starters. But program has slipped so badly. They've gone through so many quarterbacks. They've not been able to get a guy with the stature of Ryan Lindley, who's thrown for over 12,000 yards, or Kevin O'Connell, who I think had over 11,000 yards rushing and passing. They've never been able to get back to that level of productivity with a guy.
Where does Brian Sipe land in that stack ranking?
Well, he was a JC guy, and I think he started at State for 1 year or maybe a year and a half. I did a statistical check. I'm going to write a column on it on my website before the season actually starts. Sipe was part of that entourage with Dennis Shaw, Jesse Freitas, Mark Halda, all those guys that were recruited JC guys for Coryell, threw the hell out of the ball. But again, JC rules were different then, and you could get guys in. The academic rules have changed so drastically. It's a lot tougher now to get community college transfers in. But Coryell got him in early, and Coryell had speed kills.
Speed kills. Okay. All right. Let's keep moving. All right. Let's go here to Gordon. He goes, hey, great show, Lee and John. This is why your show is bleakin' brilliant. Hey, isn't it bleepin' brilliant?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Hey, one question. Why isn't there an American driver in Formula One? Thanks, guys.
We're going to get one because Michael Andretti's attempt to move into Formula One was kind of blocked. But Cadillac has bought that team, and Cadillac will be there in 2026. And they're going to have a European driver with experience, and they're going to have a young American driver. But it's tough. These rides are so hard to get. I mean, there's only 11 teams. There's only, for the most part, 2 drivers per team, two cars per team. And most of them are taken up by great European drivers and great South American drivers. And the guys that have gone there from America just haven't done real well. Michael Andretti was there for a short period. Mario Andretti was there for a short period, and he left. And he came back stateside and obviously starred in the Indy series. So it's just really hard, and it's hard. You got to bring money. If you're coming, if you bring sponsorship money, maybe you get the chance to get a ride. But there's so many Euros who are really good. And the developmental series, the F2 series, the F3 series, the developmental series in South America, they make so many great drivers. So it's just tough for Americans to get a ride because there's only a few seats.
Now, explain this to me, because we're seeing IndyCar doing street racing, right? And then NASCAR, of course, does street racing. But IndyCar street racing and F1 seem like really similar, right? I mean, I wonder why F1 and Indy don't just sort of become the same thing rather than making them separate.
Because what's the heritage of IndyCar racing? The old Brickyard.
Right.
500 ovals. Now, they started to dabble in street races, Watkins Glen Grand Prix, some of these other locales. But their heritage is Memorial Day in the Indy 500, and that's never going to change. And they don't want to tamper with that to change it.
What? Just imagine, if you will, if F1 raced on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I mean, what would that be like to have an F1 car on the big bank turns on an oval?
Yeah. I mean, the technology and the speed is those cars are so powerful.
And they're just so like nimble and quick, like one flip of a wrist and it's game over in a big oval.
So I've never heard anybody bring up that idea of F1 on an oval track, because F1's heritage is all the street courses, Monaco and all that.
Yeah, but on an oval track, we'd actually see F1 passing, which is kind of a rarity.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen. No.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Okay, let's keep on trucking here. We'll go to Steven. He says, hey, AJ traded more guys than ever, and the new guys will need to grow fast to have any value next year. AJ has guts, though.
Has no fear. I mean, that's his currency. My farm system is my currency, as one of his former guys told me when he said, we don't buy everything you're saying on your podcast. I said, okay, that's cool. So AJ's currency is the draft pick, and the Dodgers' currency is the Dodger dollars that they got to spend in their payroll. I mean, the Dodgers develop an awful lot of really good young players, and they keep most of them. They don't trade them away. AJ's traded them away forever. I promise you, when I have time, I will sit down and I will do a list of all the players that AJ Preller's traded away and where they are right now. It will stagger you.
Well, how many World Series would it take for you to say, F them draft picks, that it was worth it? Even if there's like 30 players that he traded that are playing in Major League Baseball, let's just make up that number.
If we could get to a fall classic,
yeah,
and you and I could sit along the third base line at a World Series game in San Diego,
yeah,
okay, that convinced me.
Yeah, I think it should convince you, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think they're on a cusp of something interesting here.
Yes, and they got a short window to make it work.
Yeah, and the whole vibe of the team is it's different, but in a positive way, because we love guys like Tyler Wade and but
they're 206 hitters.
Exactly. Whenever they came up to bat, you're like, oh man, the 7, 8, and 9 is just killing us. So now we have hope.
Well, your co-host said they have a better team right now than the Dodgers have. We'll just see where that phrase goes.
Yeah, well, we could break it down position by position. I still think the Dodgers have the upper hand talent-wise. And Mookie's going to start hitting bombs in the playoffs because that's just the Dodger way and the Padres curse.
Mookie's hitting 233 and has shown no signs of coming out of this. That's a big issue. Steven, thanks for joining us. Next one.
Okay, let's go to John. He goes, hey, thank you, Antonio Gates, for the games, the victories, and memories you gave us. Foxtrot uniform to Dean Spanos for stealing all our memories.
Yeah, it took my heart out when they showed him before the introduction of Antonio Gates. But it was great. I mean, the minute Chris Berman started talking, Chris loves San Diego, and Chris started mentioning this weather. It's like San Diego Charger weather. I thought, oh, yeah. And then we talked about Gates and the Bolts, and the fans who were there went crazy. So it was cool. It became a San Diego Charger day. Read my column. I wrote a column about it today, my one man's opinion column. I go all over the place on all these different topics, but I wrote a column about Hall of Fame Day equals San Diego Charger Day. Take that, Dean Spanos.
Yeah. Well, here's just a follow-up on this from Jason. He goes, loved when Berman only called them the San Diego Chargers. Suck it, Spanos.
I'll sign that memo.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool seeing Berman there, because we always think of him on ESPN, game day and bumbling, going down the line. And then at the Hall of Fame game was Brent Musberger.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of Brent Musberger. And I just remember as a kid watching the NFL Today on CBS.
That was in the embryonic years of the development of that show.
Yeah. And that really got me hooked on football. And so in fact, in the early 90s, I had a baseball fantasy league team, and my team name was the Brent Musberger Fan Club.
You were a real geek then.
I still am.
Yeah, I agree. I'll sign that memo too.
But I just like seeing like Hall of Fame broadcasters kind of around the Hall of Fame players at the Hall of Fame, and it's cool.
Yeah, it was a great event. The speeches were absolutely phenomenal, and as we flashed up the quotes from Antonio Gates' speech. That was pretty impressive by the person, as well as impressive by the player. Okay, thanks for the comments, Jason. Next one.
Okay, some more Dodger talk with Showtime, and he says, hey, this Dodgers-Padres division race is going to be so fun. Blake Snell looked pretty good outside of 2 Yankee Stadium-type homers. Dodgers rotation looks like what we thought it might be. Outstanding.
I don't know, Dodger bullpen, to me, they did not really address it. They may be strength in numbers, but every one of those numbers in the bullpen's got shaky numbers stapled to their resume. So that remains to be seen. And, Mookie's lost, and we don't know what Muncy's going to be back. They're saying Muncy's going to be activated, but again, he came off a significant knee injury, and he's hardly played at all, and he's only taken batting practice, and I think he took part in one rehab game. So are the Dodgers a complete team? Because I swear to you, when we started the podcast last Thursday, the trading deadline show, I thought by the time we got to Thursday night and this thing was done, that they would have made a deal to get a closer, and they would have made a deal to get one of those outfielders, and they didn't do either.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't get it. It was really quiet, but I think it's what we've all known. If they were healthy, they're fine, and that includes left field. That includes everything. It's not just the pitching injuries. If they had everyone back, they're just fine. You have Max Muncy playing third. Everything would be good
on paper.
But
it's not that way.
No, it's the weirdest thing about how
Hernandez is not the same guy as he was last year. And Mookie is definitely not the same player. Muncy has been dinged. So I don't know. I'm not going to apologize. I believe what I believe. As of lunchtime today, the Padres have a better team on paper than the Dodgers do. Let's go play the final 50 and see.
Yeah, there's a hard one, pal, right there. It's going to be a fun. We're going in here to what's going to be 6 games head to head between these two teams, and you like seeing the national broadcasters recognizing that Padre Dodgers is the best rivalry in baseball right now,
especially since Arizona gave up. And they got wrecked by injuries and started to trade people away. And San Francisco waved the white flag. They ran out of pitching. Now they run out of hitting. So now what looked like a really good National League West series, it's not that way anymore.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good stretch though. It's gonna be great. Okay, let's talk a little football here. More Charger talk from Dale, because Perriman was in trouble with Houston. Not too bright.
Well, I mean, he did some personal foul stuff on the field that got himself in hot water, but I was shocked, when I got the alert on my phone that Perriman got arrested on a gun charge. But it wasn't at 3:00 in the morning. He was on the way to a gun range on a Chargers off day after the Thursday night Hall of Fame game. So hopefully I guess the burning question, were all these guns registered, including the AR-15s? If he had a bunch of illegal weapons, now he's got a problem with the law, and he's going to have a problem with the commissioner's office. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I think he's been a really good football player since he came into the league when he was here with the San Diego Chargers, Miami Hurricane guy. So I'll give him some space, and let's just find out what we find out.
So let's talk about the football side of this whole thing. I mean, what are the linebacker core looking like for the Chargers? Are they doing a 4-3 defense, 3-4? I mean, how many linebackers are we going to be looking at?
One of the strengths of the team is linebacking. I mean, they've got guys all over the place who can run or physical, but Perriman is a piece of that equation. Tuli Tuipulotu is going to replace Joey Bosa, and he had a really good rookie season. Second year, his productivity tailed off. You still got Khalil Mack on the other side, the perennial Pro Bowler, got a lot of miles on that body. I'm going to be intrigued to see, first of all, the Chargers lost both their defensive tackles. Huge issue. They got 8 guys in camp. Only one of them has played any significant minutes, Tier Tart, and he's a journeyman at best. I want to know who's going to play and be the stand-up defensive tackles that Morgan Fox was and that Poona Ford were last year, because they were really the cement blocks in that front. So you got to replace them, and there was no Joey Bosa. And Bosa and Mack made a lot of things happen, and that allowed Tuli to come free to make some plays too. So there's no Joey Bosa there too. So there's a couple of big question marks with the Chargers there, I think. But I do think their linebacking core is very athletic and very active. I love their secondary. I think secondary is deep. Secondary is young. Secondary is led by Derwin James. Got a bunch of kids that they drafted last year, the Tarheeb Stills of the world, who I think are really good players. So back 7 should be good, but we have to see what the front looks like.
Oh, it's football season, man.
Yeah, you asked the question.
Yeah. Here we go. All right, let's talk on football. Let's go here to Casey. He goes, "Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hacksaw, how you think my Rams will do this year?"
I just don't like this story involving Matthew Stafford. We are now into the 3rd week of practices, and he's not on the field. Now, he's gone to see a spine specialist, Dr. Robert Watkins, twice. They're not detailing what's wrong. Now, he worked out in the offseason. He worked out extensively with Devontae Adams and Puka, and there was a vibe there that this is going to really be good. But he's got back stiffness. It just has not gone away, and that's a byproduct of being age 37 and taking a lot of hits because he's been a big, tough guy in the pocket. Sean McVay is not saying that he's going to miss the start of the season, but somewhere along the line in the next couple of weeks, he's got to get on the practice field. And he's got to start. He's got doing game day regimen. He's not going to play in the preseason, but we're 3 weeks in. He hasn't taken a snap. That's not good.
You know, we're two gray haired guys, and we're usually going, "Oh, my back." You know, we got trouble.
I am.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like, you know, playing football when your back is not feeling right?
Right.
I mean, that completely wipes you out. I
And
mean, I don't know how you can play.
He's taken so many hits because he's such a tough guy. I think collectively the Rams are really good. If Matthew Stafford can be the 3,700-yard passer that he was last year with the running back, and now you add Devontae Adams with Puka and the tight ends, I think their offense is going to be dynamic, but he's got to be on the field. I think defensively, they're just phenomenal. What they've done with those bleeping draft picks is just amazing. You know, they could be. Do you want me to make a bold prediction now, or do you want to wait till the?
No, go for it, man. Let it rip.
I think they are potential, if Stafford can be Stafford, a potential Super Bowl team. I think they're that close if that quarterback gets back on the field. But we're 3 weeks into camp and he hasn't practiced yet.
Well, they lost to Philly in the snow, didn't they?
Exactly. And they were knocking on the door at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's a good team.
So you heard it here, but we still got time. We got 3 weeks, 4 weeks before we actually get to the start of the season.
Okay, let's talk here a little bit about that Speedway race. Hey, baseball attendance record, LA Coliseum. Oh, by the way, this is from Carlos. Baseball attendance record, LA Coliseum, 2008 Dodgers versus Red Sox. 114,300 fans paid attendance on March 29th, 2008. Why is that not the record? It was preseason. 1959 World Series, 100,000 fans at LA Coliseum.
Well, every baseball story that I read indicated this was because it was a regular season game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and they had they said they had 91, they sold 91,000, whatever it was, plus for the game on Sunday. After having sold 86,000 for the game on Saturday night that got rained out, they opened up and they had more walk-ins coming in. So it was an event.
You know what was interesting is that stadium. Man, those seats are steep and those turns are banked.
That's a NASCAR track.
Yeah, that was unbelievable the way that thing is built. But usually most NASCAR tracks, I think of them as more wide open. I guess this was like kind of tight.
Well, that's an old school track. It was a bowl like that. So the seats go up like that and it's banked.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about tight racing. That's the origin of NASCAR racing, good old boys back in the 40s and 50s. Old, small, southern tracks, tilted.
Incredible.
Yeah, small tracks, not 2.5 mile Indianapolis Speedway track.
Right. Yeah, it's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going here. Go to Roberto. And he says, hey, when Michael King comes back, who are we dropping from the pitching staff to the minors? Do you like J.P. Sears going 6 innings tonight in Arizona?
Well, let's just see. He had a high ERA with the Athletics. I think it was 4.59. Pretty competitive young guy. Let's see. They got him tonight. They got Darvish tomorrow. So there's still I think there's some holes here, but obviously Vasquez in his 4+ innings is now gone. King, let's just give him some space. Let's just see what transpires, how his shoulder feels the second day, the third day after he throws his rehab start. I would assume maybe he goes back to El Paso again for another rehab start, but he got banged around. He went, 3 1/3 and gave up 6 runs. He gave up 2 bombs along the way. He was only clocked at 91. But if he has no setbacks and he can do his between start routine of throwing in the bullpen, and he has no setbacks, then you say, okay, let's just continue to track him and continue to build him. It's what the Dodgers did with Snell. Took Snell forever to come back from his shoulder impingement, but he threw 5 rehab starts, but he got progressively better and better. And even though Snell got banged around in this game that in Tampa Bay, he got beat by 2 Chinese home runs, 310 feet, 314 feet down the foul line. Any other ball yard, it would have been an out. And he was electric, and he struck out a ton of guys. So we'll see if Snell is Snell next start.
This Chinese home run thing. I mean, I've never heard that term. But is this like a New York thing because of the Yankee Stadium, Polo Grounds?
Yeah, Polo Grounds.
Yeah, because the
Coogan's Bluff. That's what the Polo Grounds was called. Coogan's Bluff.
Yeah,
because it was laid out, boom, in center field. You needed a truck to get to center field. It was so far away.
And that's where Mays made that catch, right?
Yes, exactly.
Did you see alternate configurations for that Speedway race where they were going to set it up like that,
Mm.
and having the short porches down the lines and half a mile to center
Yeah,
field.
here to the South Carolina border.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been kind of cool to do. So I'm thrilled. I mean, I get to see this new pitcher, JP Sears, but he definitely seems like a 4 or a 5 in a rotation. But do you think maybe Musgrove is hinting he might be able to come back? What do you think?
He threw 20 pitches in the bullpen, 20 fastballs. That's all. He's thrown none of the other repertoire. So I mean, we're talking about elevating his bullpens, and let's just see what it's like in August. I think they were talking 9 bullpen sessions between now and the latter stages. You're going to throw twice a week, Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Interesting.
And so let's just see. Is he going to be good enough to work out of the bullpen in mid-September? We'll find out if there's no setbacks. But he's got to be able to throw his full repertoire at max effort. And we're far away from that yet.
Well, how about a 6-man rotation? I mean, the Dodgers are doing it. Why not the Padres?
Well, at this point, Padres have 6 starters?
No. I still think Vasquez, I mean, he had a rough outing last time, but he's kind of gotten screwed a lot, and the way they kind of pull him after 2 rounds through the line.
Yeah, but they know history. They have all the statistics that when he goes the third time through the lineup, they hit 400 against him.
Yeah, and I saw those numbers on the broadcast. And yeah, it's tough because you root for that guy to have success, and he's kind of been like what Matt Waldron was last year. Some of these guys,
except that Waldron won games. Vasquez. Vasquez won 12 starts, did not win a game.
Well, because they pull him at 4 2/3 all the time.
Okay, we'll see where it goes. Let's just take one game at a time.
Okay, let's go check out our friends here in social media. Got a bunch of stuff over there as well, and okay, let's talk here. Let's talk about the Dodgers. There's always lots of Dodger talk. This is from Salamino Jr. He goes, the Dodgers are stacked. That's why they don't make any moves. The NL West is controlled by LA. But what the Padres did at trade deadline has the remaining 52 games interesting.
The columnists of the LA Times have always got opinions on the Dodgers. They're just writing that the Dodgers screwed this up, that the Dodgers have lost their mystique by letting their little brothers from the South do what they did and win the trading deadline day. You still got to do it on the field. There's no doubt about that. But I'd say this Padre batting order is better than the Dodger batting order right now. Now, there's no doubt Ohtani as a pitcher has really arrived. But there's no doubt that the Padre bullpen is the best bullpen in baseball. And the Padres lineup is better than the Dodger lineup right now. So let them play it out. People are upset. People are so upset that I have an opinion on this. I'm not allowed on my podcast. I am not allowed to have an opinion.
Well, they're all saying well, who are you a fan of? Who are you rooting for? We saw some of those on Instagram, they can't figure you out. But yeah, the Padres are much improved, but man, like at catcher, it's not even close. Even though we got the Furminator, I mean, Will Smith is a whole other
another galaxy.
Yeah, he is. And we can make that argument in a lot of other positions around first base, Freddie Freeman, way the hell better than what the Padres have. Mm-hmm. I mean, so
although Arise is a multi-time batting champion, but Freeman's a different first baseman.
Freeman is above him. Yeah, Arise is all right. But I don't know. I just think you look at the pitching staff, all those guys coming back. I mean, we love our pitchers in San Diego, but if you had who was the tall Glasnow? If Glasnow and Snell are pitching like they're capable of, we have nobody on our roster that can play at that level.
And you got a bullpen by.
Yeah,
you got a bullpen problem.
Well, yeah. Well, although the Dodgers know how to play the bullpen game, they know what buttons to push in which innings.
Past tense, last fall.
Yeah, last fall.
Not right now.
Okay.
I mean, your sales pitching me history, and the Dodger bullpen has a collective ERA of 4.51.
Really?
What are you lying to these people for?
Okay, let's keep moving on. And okay, here's some Chargers talk, and this is from Brian. He goes, Lee, the game is bigger than civic pride. He's angry about the Chargers working out in San Diego.
Oh, I thought he was angry at me because I wrote a column mocking Spanos. The game is big. Civic pride is important. Do you agree or disagree with me that Dean Spanos could have been revered forever if he would have put his own money into the stadium project that they'd already put in place? He would have been revered forever for saving the team and getting a stadium built. Instead, he's reviled forever for taking 55 years of loyalty and fleeing to Los Angeles, where he's on the outer periphery of popularity. Nobody thinks of them equal to the Rams. Nobody thinks of them equal to the Dodgers. Nobody thinks of them equal to the Lakers. So what are we talking about here? He did it to take money, plain and simple, when the money was here and he could have had the market. I wish I could take Dean Spanos to sit at a game at Petco Park and say, see what you left? Because that was NFL crowd support for the San Diego Chargers. Now it's all become San Diego Padre crowd support because the Padres have done such a great job packaging good product on the field, Petco destination point, and Spanos left that.
It's interesting how people build loyalties with teams. Like, sometimes it's your childhood team, that you grew up with, that you'll always love and you'll always be a fan of, and you'll follow them wherever they go. But then sometimes, like we're here in San Diego, and the Chargers are the NFL team, and they're the local team. We get all the news. We kind of start rooting for them when you move into town. And, you might still have your childhood team, but you're going to root for the local team too. And then when the owner of the local team says, F you, I'm out of here. Well, then, yeah, I mean, I care more about, like, for me as a football fan, I was a Charger fan for the purposes of civic pride. And I was a Niners and Raiders fan in terms of my
bloodlines.
My bloodlines. And I think a lot of fans kind of have that. So I disagree here. I think civic pride plays a role in how people root for their teams.
Sure. If the product is really good, yeah. But there's a lot of natives that have been here. I met a guy this morning in the fitness center, native, old AFL, Balboa Stadium AFL days, the Coryell and the Pro Throw AFL Chargers.
Holy hell.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. That's a lot of third downs ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was cool. Okay, thanks for the input. Next one.
Okay, let's keep moving here. Okay, someone wants to take a shot at you about the conferences. And he goes, hey, Chief. This is from Limmy Tom. Chief, get the narrative correct. Memphis's sponsorship is FedEx, Lowe's, and AutoZone, not American Express. And Memphis said no to the Pac-12, bad deal, and not the other way around.
Well, I was told that they went to the Pac-12 and offered take us and allow us to bring our corporate money in and be football only. And the Pac-12 said no. Didn't make any sense geographically. Memphis is just kind of left out there by themselves. The sexy conference they're in is not a sexy conference. What should happen is, to me, I know I have a lot of history with West Virginia. West Virginia in the Big 12 makes zero sense.
Yeah.
West Virginia and Memphis are Mid-South teams. They ought to be in the ACC. They're not going to get into the Southeastern Conference. Go to the ACC. ACC is grasping for straws about how they can grow and be really good. Memphis and West Virginia make a hell of a lot of sense there rather than being in the Big 12. And none of it makes sense in the Pac-12 to me.
I think we got to forget the whole geography part of this because it doesn't apply. Mm-hmm. Even though the Pac-12 is like by the Pac Ocean, it doesn't, no one cares about that anymore. But I'll say this is that whenever we drop these segments here, like about Memphis Blues, about, conference realignment, it's incredible how many views we get for that particular category. People are passionate
about their university or their history or their conference.
Yeah, exactly. And then they have opinions on all these other conferences and who's legit, who belongs, who doesn't belong. It's a wild kind of subculture of sports interest.
We put topics on the table and we do talk about them. Agree or disagree, doesn't matter. A couple more.
Okay, here. This is from a Dodger fan from Creflo. He goes, hey, just need to stay healthy. Dodgers are still stacked. 27 innings, remember? Or was it 24?
24 shutout innings in a row. But a bunch of those guys that authored the 24 shutout innings are no longer there. Dodgers are really good. But I think right now, by virtue of buying on the credit card, as A.J. Preller did, he spent his currency, spent all of his currency. I think the Padres are better on paper than the Dodgers are right now. We got 50 games to find out who's going to win the division.
Yeah. And again, it's going to be terrific. But those 24 innings, man, that was brutal.
That was hard to believe it was seen in front of me.
Yeah. It was like a torture, kind of a situation that they just couldn't friggin' score. That's like 2.5 games.
Yeah.
2 2/3 games. Nothing. Big goose egg.
And got beat by bullpen days, which I would have never, ever imagined they would have lost those games.
They had a 2-1 lead going into game 4 at home.
In a bullpen day.
In a bullpen day for the Dodgers. Everything was lined up for the Padres, and then they laid an egg.
They stopped hitting. I hate to use the word choke.
It was a choke. It was awful. To me, it's the San Diego sports curse. That's what it is.
I'm not cursed. I'm a San Diego.
No, well, I mean, but our sports teams. I mean, let's be real. How many championships we got here? I mean, you got to go back to 63 for the Chargers, and the Chargers aren't even here anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's keep on trucking and let's see, Padres, Aztecs. Let's do this Padre one right here from Charlie. He goes, the Padres are dumb. Not only did they give up top 5 overall prospect for a reliever, they didn't even trade Robert Suarez, who we'll lose in 2026. Now I think they will make Miller a starter in 2026, but it's a head scratcher.
The only issue with Miller is there's a history of arm injuries as a starter, and that's why he eventually wound up being a closer with the Oakland Athletics and has developed into a really good one. Again, you're asking a guy who got hurt as a starter to go back to be a starter, which means a wider variety of max effort pitches, considering this guy can throw 102, 104 on short burst. I don't know if he's going to be a starter. Evidently, they couldn't get what they wanted for Suarez or Cease. I could understand Cease because he kind of had such a substandard season. But if you're asking a pennant contender, I was told that he was going to go to Boston. I was told that the Duran deal for the left fielder was going to be a mega deal, and it involved a whole bunch of farm system players. But then the Dodgers did not want to give up Duran to rent a guy for 2 months when that guy's going to be a free agent. And Suarez is going to put himself on the open market on November 1st. So Preller couldn't get what he wanted from a player standpoint. And he wasn't trading Suarez just to trade Suarez unless he could get Duran in the deal. And Boston kind of backed away. And then Boston kind of backed away on Cease only because he was so mechanically flawed this season, and nobody's been able to get him back under control. And I know you're going to argue, well, look what he did against the Cardinals. Well, the Cardinals are dead. The Cardinals are anemic right now. So he could have dominated, did dominate, but that's one start. We'll see if he duplicates it again.
Well, wouldn't you be disappointed, though, if AJ played it cautiously, kind of like the Dodgers? Hey, we'll just wait for our guys to kind of all get healthy. I mean, I would have been really disappointed.
Well, I think there's a lot of pressure on AJ. He's promised so much. He's spent so much. And if they don't win the division this year, if they don't go deep in the playoffs this year, we're 11 years into this MO without success.
Did you see there was an article written about him in the New York Times?
Yes.
Yeah. So, this guy gets national publicity for being this eccentric GM.
Yeah. He's just really different.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy being around him. He and I go after each other all the time because he grew up in the next community over on Long Island.
Ah.
Yeah. He's from South Huntington and I'm from Northport, and we go back and forth.
Nice.
About history.
Well, I remember he was texting you after one of your commentaries. He didn't like what you had to say.
Oh, yeah. He called me over the Christmas holidays about something I said. And that's okay. I wish him a Merry Christmas and thanks for following. He's a good guy. I like him. He is really cut from a different cloth. Trust me.
I want to see him play basketball at the La Jolla Y or something like that. I bet he'd be fun to watch on the court.
No, he'd shoot the three.
Yeah. And he's probably very competitive.
Okay, let's do one more here.
Okay, let's get this Aztec comment, and this is from Genshin Roshi. He says, it all goes back to the administration. They were happy with the mediocrity, never invested in the program until the Qualcomm fell apart, gave Rocky a bare bones salary for his offensive coordinator, took Rocky for granted, and he left. Then they hired back Michigan man who left like a third in the night. He failed at every stop after that, a career 540 coach. The prices were sky high. Now it's just bad planning, not knowing your market.
Yeah, they've made an awful lot of mistakes in football, and they've gone through some tough times in football. The COVID situation, the crumbling stadium, that didn't help along the way. But at the end of the day, appreciate what Rocky and Brady did. I mean, they were a combined 106-48. Might not have been sexy football, might not have been throw it down the field football, but that was take no prisoner football. That was power football, and we're going to play great defense. 106-48 is a hell of a record. And bowl games. Now, granted, they're stuck in the Mountain West. And as our community has emotionally grown, our community is attached to all the special things. A lot of glitz. Well, the glitz is the Pac-12. Throw the damn football all over the place. And they thought they were going to be in the Pac-12, and they got waylaid and they got sidetracked, and Pac-12 backed out on them, and then the Pac-12 caved in and collapsed. So it's just a lot of things have worked against him. I don't know how you bring this thing back. I know Sean Lewis, and I know what he did at Kent State, which was an abysmal place to go work, and hasn't won since he left. I think they're 1-23 since he left as head coach. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be Mountain West Conference football, even though it might be under a Pac-12 flag. It's just not going to be Southern Cal or UCLA or Oregon or Washington. And until you're playing the big boys on a consistent basis, I just don't think this community is going to wrap their arms around it, which is too bad. So,
it's interesting when you think about sports programs. In a lot of cases, they're like a advertising or public relations for the school, to attract students, attract money. And so, here are the Aztecs. They've now gone up to the Pac-12. You can call it Mountain West 2.0, but it's a slight upgrade. Now they're, I don't know what's the designation, but they're at the top research level, kind of like UCSD. They get a lot more grant money for, research projects. And I know they're celebrating that on campus at San Diego State. So you would hope that the administration and the athletic director and the head coach of each of the teams are all on track together. They're all aligned, because the Aztecs can't be trying to build a world-class university when their sports programs suck. I mean, granted, basketball is good, but football has been troubled.
Yeah, for a long time. So I wish I had an explanation. I wish I had a blueprint to make it better, but I think they missed the boat.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want Sean Lewis to be successful. Hopefully this is the year. Hopefully these new recruits and these quarterbacks from Michigan, I'm just praying it turns out.
Well, continuity. If you can keep players, he'll grow this thing. But if they have this kind of turnover every year because somebody's buying his players every year, how do you make progress there? So it's a tough thing. But we have Aztec basketball, which is a national treasure, which is really
Some
cool.
people saying maybe a top 10 program.
I think so.
Yeah, I could. I mean, if everything goes right, it could be top 10.
We hope you have enjoyed this podcast. We put topics on the table because we do sports talk the way it should be done. Love having you with us. We thank you for being part. We've started our third year. We're approaching our 300th podcast, which is absolutely amazing that he's tolerated me for 300 and I've tolerated his opinions from left field for 300 shows.